All right, welcome back, friends. So with this video, we're going to start to talk about DOM. Yep, it's finally time for us to take JavaScript and combine it with our HTML and CSS. So it's really where JavaScript is most useful and comes into play. So up until this point, we were using console logs, and I know it's not very exciting, but you made it through. But that's all going to change now because we're about to really unleash the power of JavaScript. So the way that we do all of this is through a technology called the DOM. So in this video, we're going to start to learn DOM. But first off, we're going to define DOM. What is DOM? And then we're going to talk about why DOM manipulation is so very important. And I'll show you a few examples of websites. Then we're going to try to understand select and manipulate as a workflow, because this is very important for DOM manipulation. So why don't we just get started? So I know you might be thinking, okay, why should I care? Well, there are many, many, many reasons, but virtually every big web app out there right now, things like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, they all use a ton of JavaScript, and most of that JavaScript is interacting with the DOM, interacting with each HTML and CSS. So we interact with the DOM to do things like games or scroll effects that we see on a website. It's also how we make web pages interactive. It's how we can add animation or drop-down menus. And in drop-down menus, we can say when we click this button, open that menu. Or in forms, we can say if the username is not valid, then show a red error message. And now, I think the last thing that I'm going to tell you here really sums it up. Almost every awesome site uses JavaScript to manipulate the DOM. You can't avoid it. All right, so now, like I said, I'm going to show you a few examples before we start defining things and talk about the way it works and how it works. But let me just show you exactly what we're talking about. So I want to show you a few websites here. You might be familiar or unfamiliar with them. First one's Facebook. So I'll say Facebook on my browser and go to the Facebook, as it was originally called. Now, for example, let's click the Save button before filling in any of these fields. And you see we got error messages in red colors. We see red borders around inputs. We get these icons. Now that shows me that there is an error, yeah. And it makes it with DOM manipulation. In the background, there's a code running. Like if these fields are empty, then select these inputs and make their border colors red. And that's DOM manipulation at its best. All of the HTML and all of CSS and all of these effects that you see will easily be able to be replicated by you once you understand. So the next website I'll show you is TED.com. So I'll write TED.com into my browser. Now look at this. Although you can do some of these hover effects with CSS, we can also do them with JavaScript. And if I click on one of these videos, we can go and see that video. See, all this is taken for granted because it works so well. All of this stuff is made with JavaScript. So it's by using JavaScript that the user interacts with websites. Okay, so that's a short introduction to DOM in this video. Now, why don't we pause here and continue in the next one?